Steve Mcqueen is a black British director known widely for his 2013 film 12 Years a Slave. However, more recently, the Small Axe anthology released on BBC. Here are the tenets that I'm going to be talking about in this manifesto presentation. Small Axe is a 5-part series on the Black British experience detailing the life of the West Indian community between 1969 and 1982. Tenet 1. Uses story based on real-life events. Many of Mcqueen's pieces are based off of real-life events. Mangrove is the retelling of events that occurred in Notting Hill. The Mangrove was a Caribbean restaurant located in Notting Hill, one of the first black-owned establishments in London, and because of this, it was repeatedly raided by the police. Alex Wheatle. Wheatle grew up in the care system and was later moved to Brixton, South London, where he stayed in a hostel. This is where he found his love for music, and today he is known for books detailing this time in his life. Tenet 2. Cast and crew being people of colour. I think it's a given when telling stories of those who are of colour, they cast them as accordingly and as accurately as they can. Tenet 3. Casting and writing of strong women figures. An example of strong female characters would be the Mangrove episode of Small Axe, Letitia Wright talking to the real person behind the character she plays, Aletha Jones.
Big takeaways for me was definitely just her infusing me with this sense of love and pride for myself as a Black woman. She didn't intentionally go out her way to do that, but it's just something,
Tenet 4 represents a number of minority communities. The representation of these different communities is present throughout Mcqueen's work as a whole, from Windows to Small Axe. In the episode titled Education, there is a young boy called Kingsley who is labelled as destructive. He has dyslexia, but because of his race, or the racial profiling put upon him, he is sent to a different school, labelled as educationally subnormal. Tenet 5. Big on social realism. Social realism can be defined as the use of visual art to highlight political and social issues. For example, as the Small Axe series highlights the issues of race and discrimination and police brutality, and this raises awareness and highlights the stories of those affected by the brutality and discrimination. There are many scenes within the Small Axe series. Tenet 6. The use of camera direction / style. A good example of this would be in the Alex Wheatle episode of the Small Axe series, around the 10-minute mark where Alex gets thrown into the floor of the gymnasium of the school. It's a long shot, it's quite a long take where the camera pulls in and out quite slowly, there is no sound in the background, it feels isolating to watch. Tenet 7. Colour theory is an important factor. Colour, the things people wear, set, and even the colour grade is influential. Tans and whites could be seen as innocence, yellows, the feeling of home and safety. The colours within the scene would reflect what the character is thinking or feeling. For example, a still from the Alex Wheatle episode of the Small Axe series, when he is on the floor in the gymnasium, the whole scene takes on a kind of blue tint. Could be seen as his isolation from everybody else. Still from the same episode, but later on when he's around his friends, the frame takes up more of a warm tone, so probably a tan or a yellow, the feeling of home and safety, so warmth. Tenet 8. Trusting the actors. Mcqueen makes a point of trying to make all his actors as comfortable as possible, trusting them with their own individual crafts as they are also artists. Many of the actors who have worked with Steve Mcqueen have said he has a point of letting the actors bring as much as they want to the piece, giving them time, space, and creative freedom they need. Tenet 9. Making sure stories are being told and voices are being heard. Many of the stories are being forgotten about, especially through newer generations. They are not being told or taught for things that are so significant in history. Great British stories are being forgotten and it's being swept under the carpet. People are dying without their stories being told. This drives Mcqueen to make his films. Tenet 10. What's behind the camera is inflected in front of the camera. Steve Mcqueen wants to be able to see people of colour in all areas of film. He asks the questions like, how many black people or directors do you know who are behind the camera when they are telling black stories as they are in front of the camera? He believes it's important to inspire future generations with what he can make now. Mcqueen wants to represent stories of people and the people within them to give them a platform to prompt a conversation.